Hello and welcome to my next Scrappy crochet along. We are going to be making a Scrappy handbag. So this is my first template. It's a little crooked, so I'm going to be making another one. This one is for my daughter. Basically, each video I'm going to be going through 3 or 4 stitches to get you started. How you design your bag is completely up to you. This was a rectangle that I folded in half. I'm going to do this bag a little bit differently that I'm making as I'm going through the stitches for y'all. So it's going to be a little bit longer so that I also have like a fold over on the front for my bag. So it'll have this shape, but it'll also have like a flap folding over on the front. And I think I'm going to make the strap a little bit longer as well. Today we are going to be going over, so in gray is our single crochet foundation chain and then another row of single crochet. So that'll be stitch number 1. Stitch number 2 is in pink and that is our crossed double crochet. Then stitch number 3 for today is going to be what you see in purple here. That is going to be a single crochet V-stitch. And then last but not least, one of my favorites that I put in this bag is our Bobble Stitch, which you see here in this like super light sagey green. So I will be going over all 4 of these stitches today. If you have any questions, please be sure to drop them below, but let's get started. Okay, so we are going to start with our single crochet foundation chain in a row of single crochets, which you see here in gray on my first draft. And then we're going to work our way across. So cross double crochet next, then single crochet V-stitch and bobble stitch, which will all be covered in this video. So let's get started. So I am using a 4mm hook and just scrap acrylic yarn. I'm going to start by tying my slip knot, and we are going to start our single crochet foundation chain by chaining 2. So you can see I have a chain of 2. Then you're going to insert your hook into the back loop of that first chain, pull loop through. You'll have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, chain 1 on the first loop. You'll still have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both loops. And then you're going to insert your hook into the previous chain, pull loop through, chain 1 on the first loop, yarn over and do the single crochet. Insert hook into the previous chain, pull loop through, chain 1, single crochet. So that is what we're going to do until you get the length of your single crochet foundation chain that you would like. So finishing up 1 more stitch, and then I'll show you what it looks like up close. So there's our single crochet foundation chain. I'm going to speed through a couple more stitches. If you need to go back and see what it looks like a little bit more slowed down, here's the timestamp for those first couple foundation chains, so you can go back. But here is what our foundation chain is looking for. We're going to repeat it until it's the length we'd like, and I will meet you at the end. So here is my full single crochet foundation chain. It is 45 stitches. Again, you can determine the length you would like, but once you get it, you're going to do a row of single crochets. So you're going to turn your project and then do single crochets in each stitch. Do not skip the first stitch. Do not chain 1 first. We're just going immediately into single crochets across your entire foundation chain. So that's what you see me doing now. So just single crochets through both loops, not just the back loop or the front loop. And we'll do that all the way across our foundation chain, and I will meet you at the end. If you notice your chain kind of twisting, that's okay, just stretch it out. As we work through this project, it will flatten out for you. I'm just going to show you how I am going to be folding my handbag. So I'm folding it basically kind of into thirds. So this bottom section will be the body of my bag, and then the top section you see is going to be the flap that folds over. Again, you can design your bag however you'd like, but that is how I'm doing it, and my foundation chain is 45 stitches long. So we're gonna move on to the next stitch, which is our crossed double crochet. So we're gonna just pull our loop long and cut it, and secure our end. So that's what you see me doing here. I just weave in the end a bit and then tie it to the initial tail just so that it's nice and secure. And there is the end of our foundation chain and single crochet row, and we're going to tie in with our next color. So my next color, I am going to do my crossed double crochets in a purple. So I am inserting my hook into that first stitch and tying in. And for the crossed double crochet, you're going to start by chaining 2. So pull a loop through and chain 1, 2. You're going to skip 1 stitch and then go into the second stitch from your hook and perform a double crochet. So yarn over, insert hook, pull loop through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Then you're going to return to that skip stitch and do another double crochet, and that's going to create that crossed look. So those 2 double crochets are crossing. So then you'll skip a stitch and go into the next stitch and double crochet and return to the skipped stitch and double crochet. So that is our crossed double crochet stitch, and we're going to do that along the entire length of our row. So important thing is making sure you're skipping a stitch and doing your double crochet and then returning to the skipped stitch and doing your double crochet. So this is what it should look like, creating that crossed look. And again, we're going to repeat this all the way along the length of our row, and I will meet you at the end. So depending on the length of your chain, you will either finish your cross double crochet in the last stitch, or you'll have 1 stitch left over. If you have 1 stitch left over, you're just going to end with a double crochet in it. But if you finish your cross double crochet and you don't have any stitches left, that's okay as well. So those are the 2 scenarios. I'm just cutting and weaving in my end and securing it. So there are 2 options for ending this row. And here's what it looks like finished, our second stitch. And then we're going to move on to our third stitch we're going over today, which is the single crochet V-stitch, which is in purple on my first bag. And I'm going to be doing it in this sagey green on this bag. So you're just going to take your next color and tie it into the second chain of that initial chain 2 that you did for your cross double crochet. So that's what you see me doing in here. I'm just tying it into that second chain. And then you're going to insert your hook and pull a loop through. And you're going to chain 1, and that's going to serve as a single crochet. Then you're going to skip a stitch, and in the next stitch, you're going to complete the following. So single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, all in that second stitch from your hook. And that creates your single crochet V-stitch, and you're just going to repeat. So skip a stitch, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, all in the same stitch. Skip a stitch, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. And that's what you're going to repeat all the way across. So single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, making sure to skip a stitch between each single crochet V-stitch, and that's what it should look like. We're going to repeat this all the way across our row, and I will meet you at the end to show you how to finish the row. So we just finished our last single crochet V-stitch. We're going to skip a stitch, and in that last stitch we're going to do a single crochet. If you have 3 stitches left, you'll just end with skipping a stitch and doing 2 single crochets. But this is what that row should look like. Again, we're going to pull the loop long and cut and secure our end. So that's what you see me doing here. We will be crocheting over all of these ends when we create the border for our bag, but we have finished our 3rd stitch. Final stitch for today is our bobble stitch, which I am going to be doing in this like pale pink and it was done in this sagey green on my initial bag. So it's going to give us a lot of texture and a little bit of poof. Kind of looks like a little poofy flower coming out of that single crochet V-stitch. So where you're going to tie in is you're just going to tie into that initial chain 1 space from the beginning of your single crochet V-stitch row. So that's what you see me doing now. And we're going to start by inserting our hook and pulling a loop through and chaining 3. And then the bobble stitch will be being performed in the chain 2 space of the previous V-stitch. So yarn over, insert hook, pull, loop through, yarn over, pull through 2. We're not going to finish the double crochet. We're just going to repeat. So yarn over, insert hook, pull, loop through, pull through 2. Yarn over, insert hook, pull, loop through, pull through 2. Yarn over, insert hook, pull, loop through, pull through 2. And we're gonna do this a total of 7 times. When you finish, you should have a total number of 8 loops on your hook. So I believe this is number 6 for me, and then this will be number 7. So let me just count my loops. So count our stitches. There's 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 loops on my hook. So I'm gonna yarn over and pull through all 8 loops. And then chain 1, and then we're going to chain 2 to finish the bobble. And then we're just going to repeat this in each chain 2 space of the previous row's single crochet V-stitches. So these bobble stitches are technically double crochet 7 together. So you're going to do the first half of 7 double crochets. You'll end up with 8 loops on your hook, and then you'll yarn over and pull through all 8 loops to close the bobble. You see me counting right here. And then chaining 2 to secure that kind of bobble or puff or whatever you want to call it. So here's me just flattening it out and stretching it a little bit to make sure it's in the right shape. And I'll give you a little close-up of what these look like. Gives our bag a nice texture. And then in each of the chain 2 spaces, we are going to do these bobbles, and I will meet you at the end. So I finished all my bobbles. This is a bit of a yarn eater when it comes to stitches, so we are going to use a lot of yarn here, but we're just going to do a double crochet in the last single crochet of that previous row in order to finish our bobble row. And that is all 4 stitches that we're going to go over today. So I'm just going to pull my loop, cut, and secure my end. Again, we will be crocheting over all these ends when we do the border of our bag, so don't worry about making them disappear or cutting them anyway right now. I'm just stretching it out to kind of even out the rows so that it lays nice and flat. And that is the end of our bobble stitch. So just showing you again how I'm folding my bag. Folding it into thirds, that bottom part will be the bag and the top part will be my flap. You'll see the bag come more into shape as we go along, but let's do a quick overview. Okay, so we finished with our first 4 stitches, so I just wanted to show you what that looks like for me. So the yellow was my single crochet foundation chain with another row of single crochets. Purple is the cross double crochet. Green is the single crochet V-stitch, and then the light pink is my bobble stitch. And again, my plan for my bag this time, instead of just folding it in half to create my bag, I'm gonna kind of fold it almost into thirds. So this will be the physical bag, and that'll also have a tab folding over. Obviously it'll be much wider once we're done. So that is how I am designing my bag. You can do either of the 2, or if you want to come up with a different design, that's completely up to you. The purpose of this crochet as long is just to introduce you to some new stitches, use up some of your yarn stash, and create something fun and unique. So any questions, as always, drop them below. I did finish one draft of this bag already, so I don't need any stitch suggestions this time, just because I do have it all kind of drafted out here. I have plans for other crochet alongs during the rest of this year. So if you have any other stitches that you'd like to see that you don't think are in this bag, drop them below as well, because I'm always looking for fun stitches to add to my scrappy projects. Thank you so much for following along. Next 4 stitches will be posted next week.